Let's talk about JavaScript. I'm going to play around with JavaScript. Very basic examples about how to use JavaScript. I'll ask you questions. Please ask me questions as well. Let's keep this interactive, right? We'll be doing that for the next 45 minutes. And then at the end of the session, we'll do a proper training following the way we train here our students. So the first thing, what do we need to play with JavaScript? Nothing, just a web browser. JavaScript is the only language in the world that runs on the browser, everywhere. Everything has a browser, JavaScript runs everywhere. Desktop, tablet, phone, everywhere. That's why JavaScript is the most important programming language in the world. This is not what I think. This is true according to Stack Overflow. GitHub, not Stack Overflow. Do you know what GitHub is? It's the Bible of coding, right? Every single piece of open source software today, or 99% at least, is on GitHub. According to GitHub, look, JavaScript is the top one since some years ago, right? Not only that, even though I don't have the figures with me, you can trust me if I say that JavaScript is more popular than language 2 and 3 combined. So it's huge, it's insane. There is nothing more popular than JavaScript today. And this is because it's not faster, it's not easier, it's not more reliable than others. It just got married with the browser. The browser is everywhere, JavaScript is everywhere. As simple as that. Cool. So what do we need to play with JavaScript? There are multiple approaches. Probably the simplest one, because we don't have to install any software if we already have Google Chrome, is at any web page, any website, we literally do right-click anywhere. We have usually at the bottom a link said inspect. So we click on it and it will open the DevTools. So DevTools is a mechanism that modern browsers have to debug and to check the status of a website. This is a huge world. I'm not going to talk about the details of DevTools, but I'll focus on what we need to do to run JavaScript on the browser. So you will see, generally speaking, is the second tab. You have sources on top. So you click on sources. Then on the left-hand side, you'll have two arrows. So if you click on the two arrows, eventually you'll have an option called snippets. So we are going to create JavaScript snippets. A snippet is literally just a piece of JavaScript that runs on the browser. Nothing else, nothing more. So please create a new snippet. You can set a meaningful name. I'm going to call it Intro to JavaScript, but just do whatever you want with it. And then we can write JavaScript on the main area, right? The first thing I will recommend you, and it goes beyond the scope of this session to explain why, but please do it, is every time you create a new snippet, surround your code with curly brackets. We'll do an advanced session in the future to explain why this is necessary. But for now, please do it. So once we have the curly brackets, we can start writing JavaScript, right? So let's do it. I'm going to create a trivial piece of JavaScript code. I'm going to create a function. JavaScript is a functional programming language, which means that everything is a function somehow. So look what I'm typing here. I'm going to create a function, typing function, and then the name of the function. Because this is the very first exercise, I'm going to call it welcome. Look at the syntax. We type function, then the name of the function, and then to complete that, we need to open and close parentheses. We'll see what to do here, but for now, just do it like that, empty, right? Just open and close it. And then again with curly brackets, we have the content of the function. So in here, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just say, welcome, thank you for attending the meetup today. So look, when you have a function, the function return something. You execute the function, and the function gives you something back. In this particular case, in this trivial example, the welcome function will return welcome to JavaScript. If anyone is wondering, JavaScript is absolutely unrelated to Java, apart from the name. Right? JavaScript is a scripting language. It's something agile. It's something that runs under different principles than Java. Again, it goes beyond the scope of the session to talk about the differences between different programming languages. But for now, something like that, right? So we have a function, welcome, that returns a welcome message. So now, if we execute that function, look at what I'm doing now. I'm typing welcome again, opening and closing parentheses. So if we do that, now we can run this snippet and see what happened. Look, probably you've noticed at the bottom, you got a button that says run snippet. If you click on the button, you will see at the bottom the output. Why we got this output? Because we have created a function and we have invoked the function. Questions? Yep.
You see the, I don't know what to call it, like the semicolon at the end when you say.
Yep.
JavaScript?
This one?
Yeah, you have to put that at the end of each and every, when you end the, I don't know what to say, statement or.
Correct.
Yeah, line. Yeah.
Correct. So Itamar, who is joining us on the winter bootcamp, is asking if we need that. Not necessarily. In the past, it was necessary to add semicolons everywhere. But now with modern JavaScript, because we want to learn modern JavaScript and take advantage of all the new functionalities, it's not necessary. I know that there are lots of developers that they like to put the semicolon. It's just syntax sugar. The code, for some people, looks more elegant. But this is a matter of styling. Some people like the semicolon, some people don't like the semicolon. Is it necessary? No, it's not necessary. So, is there any question? Okay, right. So this is probably the most simplistic piece of JavaScript code you can write ever. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Right. So, because as you can imagine, we are going to execute snippets all the time, I will suggest you to learn the shortcut. You can click here, and it works. But if you hover over, actually, yes, you don't even have to hover over, right? So it tells you what the shortcut is. In Windows, the shortcut, I think, is Control-Enter. In Mac, the shortcut is Command-Enter, right? So you don't need to take the cursor, press there, which is a bit boring, right? Just literally, look, Control-Enter in Windows, Command-Enter, and you got the result. Any question? That's easy, right? No? Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's the first thing I wanted to do. But now let's make it a bit more complicated. The reason why you can make 700 a day in London working with JavaScript is not because of doing that. It's because we need to do more complicated things. But let's bring some spices to our examples, right? So I'm going to introduce the concept of variables. So instead of welcome to JavaScript, I want to welcome individuals. So I want to say welcome Peter, welcome John, welcome Mary, welcome Natasha, welcome whoever, right? So look, with JavaScript, we can pass variables. We can create dynamic, powerful functions. So look, I can say welcome to any of you. So for example, Itamar, right? So you can see that we can pass data inside of the parentheses. You can put any name, you can put whatever you want, inside of the parentheses, right? So when we do that, we are sending the Itamar variable to the welcome function. So now we can receive it. So inside of the parentheses of the welcome function, we can declare a variable. You can call it again however you want. Freedom. There are no restrictions. Just think about readability. If I want to welcome someone, I'm going to call the variable name name, or maybe person name. I don't know. There is no perfect answer. You can put whatever you want. What we know is that the value of person name will be Itamar. Correct. So then, question, what will this function return now?
Return welcome to JavaScript.
Correct. Still, we are not saying welcome to Itamar. Why? Because we are declaring a variable, but we are not using the variable. The message is still hard-coded. Welcome to JavaScript, right? So we're getting close, but we need to do something else. Now is the first time we're going to see how to concatenate strings. This is a string, whatever comes with the single or double quotes, and variables. Look, there are different ways to do it. And I like to let you know that in 30 minutes, the challenge we're playing will be about manipulating strings. So pay attention, because the questions we'll get afterwards will be related. Cool. So probably the classic way to do it, and I'll show you an advanced version, but the classic way to do it is, I'm going to change the message, welcome, comma, and then we can add the variable, adding a plus, and then the variable name, right? So using plus, we can combine hard-coded text and variables. So now, the question is, what will this example return?
Yeah.
Correct. Our function now is more powerful, because simply changing the name in here, Natasha, for example, now we can welcome a different person name. So what will it return now? Welcome, Natasha. You see, this is not complicated. It's predictable, right? So our function is flexible. It receives a person name and it just says hello, right? Easy. Cool. Right. So in this particular case, the only information we have about each particular person is just his or her name. But in reality, when we join Facebook or Meetup or any other platform, they have lots of details about ourselves. They have first name, they have last name, they have the email, they maybe have the date of birth, lots of details, right? So how do we handle collections? How do we handle groups of related information? Let's introduce a super vital aspect in JavaScript, which is objects. Look, I'm going to remove that for now. So we'll start again in a minute. And let's create an object. An object looks like that. I'm going to declare a variable. You can use let to declare a new variable, and then you can call it however you want. For example, I'm going to call it player. You can call it person, profile, user, candidate, up to you, whatever. And then to declare an object holding all the information of the player, and this is the most important part probably of this presentation, we do equals, and then curly brackets. Again, you see how many curly brackets we have already, right? So curly brackets, in this particular case, represent objects. An object is literally a collection of key value pairs. The key is the name of the property. The value is the content of that property. For example, first name. This is going to be Michael. Right? We can add a new property called last name. Smith. We can add a new property, email. michael@gmail.com. We can add the age, right? 41. Whatever you want. This is an object, a collection of details about one particular topic. Is there any question? Is everyone following me? Yeah, we got the object, right? So now, because this is a new player who has signed up in our gaming platform, for example, we want to say the welcome. We want to display a welcome message, right? So I'm going to go back to the previous example and I'm going to customize, I'm going to fine-tune the welcome function to display welcome Michael Smith. So now I will have to deal with the details of the object, the first name and the last name. So first of all, the most important thing is we got the object here, so we want to send the object to the function. Do you know what do we have to do with the player object?
Included in the welcome.
Correct.
Okay.
We have to put it here, right? If we put it there, now next time we execute the snippet, the welcome function will receive that player. Make sense? Cool. Yep.
Would it return the whole entire object? Would it not return the whole entire object if you wrote down, for example, welcome player?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Correct. We'll see. We'll see that in a minute. So here, the welcome function will receive the player with all the details, right? But we don't care about the email. We don't care about the age. We just want to say welcome Michael Smith. Welcome first name, last name, right? Still, we will have here the player. Do you think person name, and I'm now talking about elegance of the code, do you think person name is a good name for the variable?
No.
Why not?
It's confusing.
It's confusing. Agree on that. Because we don't have the name of the user. We have all the details. So how will you call it? Just name.
User?
Player name. So, first name. No. Don't forget that the content of this variable will be literally that.
Person details or
Person details. I like that. I like that. Person details. Or profile. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. You can type whatever you want here, right? You can type Boris Johnson. No, you can't type that. Freedom, right? You can do whatever you want. But even though technically speaking, Google Chrome will accept it, don't forget that we are coding for humans. We have emotions. Every software company has at least 2 developers. You and you in 6 months' time. So please look after details. This is one of the most complicated things to train, right? So, right, we got person details. But now, what happens if we do welcome, comma, space, plus person details?
to display all the attributes.
It will display all the attributes. I like that. Let's see what happens, but I like that way of thinking. So let's have a look. That's weird, right? Welcome object. What's that? Welcome object. That's a bit confusing. And the problem is, because person details is an object. So we are trying to display all the details of the object, right? In reality, we don't want to do that. So for example, how can we display the first name?
So player dot whatever.
Yes, he's right. Player dot whatever. So in that particular case, the way to access any property in JavaScript is with dot notation. So I can do person details dot what? First name, exactly. For now, right? So what will this snippet return? Welcome, Michael. Exactly. Is everybody following me? Right? Cool. So we got welcome, Michael, but in reality, we also want to include the last name, right? Because we want to be super polite. So how do we include the last name in the message?
Plus person details.
Exactly. You are all right. We can do that. So, what will this return? Look at something I like to do when I ask questions is you see at the bottom, I can type here. So I can simulate what the algorithm will run once I press the command enter shortcut. So what do you think this will return? Welcome, Michael Smith. Like that? No.
Together.
Together, exactly. This is wrong. This is obviously this is what we want, but this is over optimistic. This won't happen, right? Let's prove the theory. Let's see if we are right or not. Exactly, right? This is a bit, dodgy. We don't want to say that. We want to add a space between the first name and the last name. How do we do that?
Space after the
Just-
first name.
Space after the last name?
No.
No.
It's string, isn't it?
String. Like that?
Space
No.
mark, space.
Space. Like that?
Yeah.
Awesome. It works. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. You see how easy it is to deal with pure strings and variables. Any question? No? Right. So this is the classic way, and still valid of course, to concatenate strings and variables. However, with modern JavaScript, there is a slightly better or slightly more readable way to do the same. I'm going to leave this here, and actually, this is a good opportunity to set something new. You can comment code, so you can disable a line of code typing //. See? Now it changed color, so this line will be ignored. It's like removing it, literally. But it's okay to leave it there in case you want to compare. Right? So the alternative is using template literals or string literals. So string literals is a new way. I'm going to do literally the same thing with a different syntax. Look, with template literals, we can do that. Using backticks, the symbol that probably you never use, in Windows is in top left in your keyboard. On Macs is in bottom left. You found it? Backticks? Yeah? Got it? Backticks? So backticks is a new thing in JavaScript in that aspect, but it's a good thing. Because with backticks, we can do that. We can do whatever we want. Look at the color. The colors are important here. So you can type whatever, right? So if we do that, it will return a weird message, right? Like probably you drank too much tonight. But we can combine literals, hard-coded text, with variables. And the way to do it, look at the syntax. If you use $, and unsurprisingly, we open and close curly brackets, in here, now, we can pass a variable. You see the color, how it's changed, right? So we're inserting a variable in the middle of the string. Try that. Does it work? It works, right? Let's prove it. Correct. Random, nothing. Michael, random, whatever, right? So based on that, can you tell me how to change the example to solve the same problem using backticks? $sign. And then what?
Curly brackets.
curly brackets,
No, empty.
empty what? Backticks?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the backticks already.
Yeah.
So, and then what?
And dollar.
Dollar
Before that.
before. No, it has to be inside of the backticks. So the backticks surround your expression.
So welcome,
Welcome,
Welcome. Yep.
space,
comma, space, whatever, and then what?
then the dollar sign.
Yeah,
Curly brackets.
curly brackets,
Object, which is player.
player,
Person details.
person details, correct,
Space,
space,
another dollar sign.
yeah.
Oh no, person details, not first name.
Aha, I like that, right? Because we want to access the first name.
And now person details dot last name.
Correct.
Should be empty brackets, curly brackets in between first name and last name.
No, look, because we want to access two separate variables, we use dollar, and then inside of the dollar, we access the variable. Then we add a space, so this space is the same as that.
It's counting.
Correct, it's counting, exactly. And then we use the second variable. So this should work as well. Let's see if it works. Correct, it works. So you can see that both approaches are equivalent. But the one on top is a bit more elegant. It's less error prone, yes?
Instead of putting down person details,
Yep.
put down player directly.
Yep, and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any reason why that works? Or
Yeah.
does it matter?
Yeah. So in here,
Yeah.
so we're checking that actually if you replace person details
Yeah.
with player, it still works.
Goes directly.
Correct. In this particular case, that's true. The reason why it works is because everything is on the same window.
Okay.
So everything is global.
Right.
But in a real product, in a real piece of software, that could be in a separate file. So that could be hidden. That's why it's good to encapsulate the logic of your function, right? So again, same thing. The one on top is the new approach, slightly more elegant because instead of doing this, you simply add a space, right? It's more human friendly. As simple as that. Is there any question? No? Still easy, right? Right, and now I would like to play a different example. So let me remove everything. I'm going to create a new function, and I'll need your help to complete it, called sum. So essentially, look, if I call the sum function with 3 and 5, the function should return 8. Let's talk about maths. How do we do it?
Return.
Return what?
Return
Eight.
x. I would say return x plus
X.
y.
X plus y. Okay. What will this return?
Nothing because you haven't put the variables in.
Correct.
in the top of the
Correct.
yeah.
I like the idea. This is very simple. However, what's x? What is y? Nowhere. Say it again. Where? What? X equals 3. Yeah, but so this will be x. This will be y. We agree on that, I believe. But what is missing here? What do we need to put here to declare x and y?
X, comma, y.
Exactly. Inside of the parentheses. You see the mapping? So now, if we pass number 3, x will be equal to 3. When we pass number 5, y will be equal to 5. So that should return 8. Exactly. Right? Is there any question? So the important aspect here is that in reality, when you create a function with JavaScript, you can pass multiple arguments. Not necessarily 1 or 2. You can pass as many as you want, right? So you can pass a third one. So we can add set. So we can do x plus y plus set. Correct? Correct. This works. And how can we combine this with a proper message? Look at the bottom of the screen. I want to return the result is 9. How can we format that? string.
So, yeah.
The result is colon should be in string
Return the result is colon, and then what?
and plus
Plus
the result is
x plus y plus z. Dollar, okay. Dollar with plus, like that?
no
No.
either dollar or
Without
plus.
dollar. Say it again.
Either dollar or plus.
Plus, okay, let's use plus, and then what?
And
Hmm. Hmm.
May I suggest
Yeah, of course.
maybe first do the calculation and then display the result?
Okay, that makes sense. So here,
Oh.
yeah, that's the thing, right? Divide and conquer. Someone is suggesting to first do the calculation and then display the result. I like that. I think it's a good idea. So can we do that? Can we create a new variable called result, for example, equals x plus y plus z? So then, okay, what else? We got a
Yeah, the variable.
correct. So let's see if it works. It works, exactly, right? So first we have created a variable, and because we now have the variable, we can display it. Does it make sense? It's still easy, right? Cool. So let me introduce a new principle. So we've been talking about strings. We've been talking about variables, objects, first name, last name. And now, it's probably my favorite topic because of how powerful it is. Let's talk about arrays. Do you know what an array is in JavaScript?
It is a collection. It's like a fishing box array. It's a sorting. It's a method of sorting. Multi-dimensional.
Yeah, kind of, yes. An array is just a list of elements, right? So, let's do something. Let's create a new variable called characters. This is going to be an array. Do you remember how to create an object? Well, correct, with curly brackets. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Curly. However, to create an array, we don't have to use curly brackets. Do you know which symbol do we need to use? Square brackets. Awesome, right? So in here, now we have an empty array. No data, empty. But let's fill some details. So I'm going to create few characters. Donald, Kim, and Boris. I have an array with 3 elements. Make sense? So, I'm creating now a function, and you'll help me to complete it. And the name of the function will be how many characters. So I want to evaluate how many characters my list has. So you tell me. Mm-hmm. Return, yeah. Yep.
How to count now?
How to count? Yeah, that's
Return characters document.
okay. But what is characters? Look, characters is here. Do we have to provide it to the function?
Say how many, say 3.
Say it again.
Because you say how many
Yep.
parts there are, so we can 3.
Yeah.
And
It will return free. Agree. But
0 plus
Yeah,
1 plus
it will-
2.
yeah.
Yeah, we would have to put it inside the when we're commanding in the function there.
Exactly. So Itamar is right. So remember that what we need to do is we need to offer the data to the function. It's always the same thing. We have some data, we send it to the function, and then the function will do the magic, right? But always remember to pass it to the function. So then here, what can we type here?
Character 0.
Characters. We can call what that's
Yeah, it would be, no, never mind.
we can put whatever you want here. Foo, apple, that doesn't matter. So the important thing to understand is that the content of this variable will be reachable inside of the function here. Don't call it apple because it's a bit strange. Your colleagues will struggle to understand what you are trying to do, right? So you can call it characters as well. You can reuse the same naming conventions. You can call, I don't know, people, whatever. The important thing is the value of this variable will be that. That means that it will be assigned to this array. So I want to return how many characters my array has. How do you know, can we get the length of an array?
Characters dot length.
Exactly. Well, characters. What's the name of the variable?
Oh, people dot.
People dot length. Correct. You see? So this will return the size of the array. So what will this return? 3. Correct. And if we add a new character, how many characters? 4. Exactly. Is there any question? Yep.
I've actually got it wrong.
Okay.
I'm not sure why.
Right. So you are not invoking the how many characters function.
I'm not invoking.
Yes.
Oh,
You are
yeah.
missing line number 8. Look.
Yeah.
So
You're right.
one thing is you declare the function, and it's fine, but you have to invoke it,
Yeah.
execute it, right? Any question? Right. Again, back to the same principles. I don't want to return 3. I want to return, look, the number of characters is 3, 4, whatever. You get the idea, right? What do we have to change? Return
The string, the number of characters is plus people dot length.
like that.
We put string
String.
between
Yeah.
the word.
One of the sexy things about modern development is that the browser is helping you. So if we do something wrong, everything becomes red, right? Which is a good thing because you can spot the problems quickly. In the past, we didn't have that capability. So you did something, you thought it was correct, you send it to the browser, and after a few minutes, you detected the issue. So now we are reducing the gap. So we are becoming more efficient, more productive developers. So why is this wrong?
You need to start with the one that you mentioned first. I don't know.
Which one?
It doesn't have speech marks.
Quotes. What's the correct name to?
Or backticks. Or
Backticks. Thank you. Thank you. Backticks. Backticks. Is, I'll show you. So this is backticks. Or all together maybe. I don't know. Backticks, right? Which is the that's it, right? Cool. I think they ran out of characters, so they had to use something like that, right? Because they were using curly brackets, square brackets, parentheses, but we need to do to make.
Use double quotes, no?
Correct. Let's use, yes, correct. We can use, so you remember we use single quotes. In reality, single quotes and double quotes are equivalent. So in JavaScript, you can use either single quotes or double quotes. I don't have any particular preference. Well, I do have a particular preference. I prefer single quotes because they are simpler. As simple as that. Because if I have double quotes, if I get my glasses, I don't know if I have one double quotes or two single quotes, you know. It's very subtle detail. But in reality, they are completely equivalent. But hey, let's use backticks. Will this work?
They work with the length, you know, with the dollar sign, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's a dollar.
like that.
Paragraph.
I mean, you see that even if you think this will work, look at the color.
Exactly. It's like a string.
It's plain orange, right? That doesn't look good. It's like, hey, everything is it's just a string, right? So if we run that, that will return as it is, right? The number of characters is $people length. Look, you see, hard coded. So what we need to change here?
The backtick should end after
The what, sorry?
Backtick should end after the colon.
The backtick should end after the colon, like that.
No,
And remove the last one.
no,
No.
that's normal speech.
Yeah, remember backticks surround everything from the very beginning until the end, right?
The dollar sign and then the brackets.
Correct. We are missing the brackets. And look, Chrome immediately changed the color, which gives us some confidence that this will change the result. So hopefully, that should return the number of characters is 4. Exactly. Exactly. Does it make sense? Obviously, we can combine arrays and objects and numbers, so we can do a mixture of everything, right? So for example, before going any further, can you tell me how to complete this exercise? The first character is
Alright, I don't know what to call it, but so I would put characters.
characters. Why characters? Where is characters coming from? We got people.
Oh right, you're right. Sorry, people.
So you address the array,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you put it in square brackets position.
correct. Correct. In JavaScript, you can access each individual element of the array like that, with a square bracket, and then the element you want to access.
0.
Yeah, 0.
0 or 1?
0 for first position.
Exactly, exactly. So in JavaScript, the first element is not 1, it's 0, right? So if we want to access the first element, we need to put 0. So if we want to display the last one, 3,
2.
or 2, or 1.
4, so 3.
Okay, someone said something very interesting. For now, let's leave it as 3. Okay, I think 0, 1, 2, 3, that will work, correct? That will work. Correct. But now the problem is, what happened if we add a new character?
It becomes 4.
Correct. It becomes 4, so then you can change it here. And what if you remove it later on? You need to, so this doesn't scale. This works fine if your list of characters is static. But if we don't know how many characters do we have, how do we access the last element of the array?
-1.
-1 what? Like that?
Characters dot length.
0 plus 1.
0 plus 1. No, 0 plus 1.
Is characters dot length minus 1.
Correct.
Oh.
You remember, we explained how to get the length of the array. Characters. Why characters again? Why are you talking about characters all the time?
Access the array.
What's the name of the variable?
People.
People. Exactly. Thank you, people. People, what? Dot length.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh,
Like that? Yes?
yeah.
No, no, no.
No, yes, no. Yes, no. Okay. Why? Why yes, why no?
No, yeah. It should be
Oh, right, no.
It should be -1. Why should it be -1?
No, it shouldn't be minus.
It shouldn't be -1. Come on.
Because
It should be.
it's the length.
Is the length.
Minus 1 leaves you
in
like
square
the last
brackets.
one.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
wait.
minus.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That one's right. Yeah, that's right.
So what will this return?
It will return undefined.
Undefined. I think that will return something like the first character is undefined. Correct. Because we are trying to access position number what? What's the value here?
5.
5.
Oh, sorry, 4.
4.
4 doesn't exist.
Correct.
4 is
We got
fine.
index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3. There is no index 4. Undefined. I don't know what to do with it, right? So we need to do -1. So that will give us the last element of the array. Let's try it. That's correct, right? And then, even if we get rid of the element, now it should still work. We don't care how big the array is. It will always return the last element, right? Any question? Right, I would like to do, because we are now out of time, to do the very last exercise, because I think it's very important. I would like to talk about conditionals, if else, the very last exercise before doing the training. So, what if else means? I'm going to have a function, and the name of the function is my code sexy? Right? So essentially, I'm going to call, I want to invoke this function. So the idea is, I'm going to pass a number between 0 and 100. So if the number is above 50, like 76, right, that should return yes. If the number is below 50, like 26, it should return no. You get the idea, right? If else, if else. So, you'll tell me.
So let is my code
Start with putting the 76 away at the number.
Here, number, but I want to leave it like that. I mean, you can create a variable. Look, you can create let score equals 76 and then put it inside of the parentheses. This is what we've been doing. That's fine. Or you can put it inline. You can literally type 76 here. That's the same. Yep.
Let's score less than 50, return
Yeah.
no.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we want to do. But how do we put it here?
So inside the function.
Yeah.
The,
If I like that. If what?
If
Score
is less than
50. Yeah. Then what?
return yes.
Yes. Okay. Look at the remember the curly brackets. Return yes. Right. And then what? Else. Else. Perfect. Else what?
No.
Return no. Okay. That's good. Right. Will it work? Yes. So yes. Will it work? Yes. 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 Everyone agree on that? No. Why? Why? Correct. What's the score? Score is undefined. We're not declaring the score, right?
Score in initial parentheses.
Exactly. We should put the score there, right? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's try that. So now I should display yes, right? I believe. Oh, it displays no. Why? It displays no. Say it again. Correct. The logic on line number 3 is wrong. You see, we are returning if the score is below 50, yes, my code is sexy. But we want to make it on the other way around. So what we have to change here? Yes, correct. We can swap the two return statement, or we can do that. Right? So that should return yes. And if I change the number to 36, it should return no. And what if I pass 50, exactly 50? Yes or no?
Yes. No, it will be no.
Yes, no. Maybe.
No.
Why no?
But we know that it has to be greater than.
Greater. Correct. So how do we make that 50 is still sexy?
Equals.
Equals.
If-
Equals.
No. Greater
If
than
score
equal
is
50.
equal to 50,
Not equal, because if it's 51, we still want to, still sexy, right?
Equal greater than.
Equal greater, like that?
No.
No.
Greater than. I'm sorry. Equal on the other side. Yeah.
Like that, yes. So that's the way with JavaScript, we are testing where the score is greater or equal than 50. So that returned no a minute ago, but now it should return yes. Is there any question? Yes, a final thought here. Because probably senior JavaScript developers, they got tired of creating if else for most of their life, right? So in modern JavaScript, there is a shorthand. There is a shortcut. There is a shorter way to write an if else. And I'll do it as I promise as the very last task of this presentation. So instead of doing that, we can do something very sexy. Look, I'm going to leave it again for reference purposes, but we can do return, then the condition, and then what happens if the condition is satisfied? using a question mark. This is the if, and then using a colon, this is the else. So that line is the same thing, is equivalent to these 5 lines. It's a shorter version. Don't worry about that. If you don't understand this line, it's absolutely fine. It's good. It's a good exercise to start understanding the basics, how to create a long version, right? But just I'll let you know that with modern JavaScript, in the long term, you'll prefer that, right? Because it's shorter. So unless we failed, you see 50 is still sexy. However, 49 is not correct. Any question? No? Right, so this is what I wanted to talk in regards to the introduction to JavaScript. Now for the last 10-15 minutes, I would like to do an exercise. Ideally, I would like you to do the exercise as well, but that's optional, right? So I would like to show you how do we train these kind of things here at Codeity. How do we train here with our bootcamp students? So if you go to codeity.com, this is a free tool that everyone can use. That's why I'm showing it to you at the moment. So if you go to play, some of you, I know some of you have been doing already challenges. So some of you already have a user, some of you don't have any user. So if you go to play at codeity.com, you will see that you can sign up. So if you don't have any user, you can sign up and start training for free. You can train multiple JavaScript topics across 3 different levels of difficulty: beginners, intermediate, and expert. You can train strings, you can train functions, you can train if-else, you can train objects, you can train arrays, you can train booleans, you can train everything, right? Because I already have a user, if you already have a user, because some of you already have a user, at the bottom you can sign in, right? So just literally just put your username and password, right? And then we can start with the action. So you will see on the left-hand side that you got several links. So the one I would like to focus now is training. So if I click on training, you can see the 3 levels of difficulty, right? So I click on beginner, and you see here we can train specific topics about JavaScript. Functions, objects, if-else, shorter if-else, mathematical operations, blah, 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 blah. Now, I would like to do the first one, right? And again, I recommend you to do it with me by your own, but if not, you can do it with me here, right? So if I click on the first, on this one, strings, this is the way we train here. This is the way we help developers to break into the market. So look, on the left-hand side, we have a function, get welcome message, and then we are expected to create a function that returns welcome to JavaScript. This is pretty much what we've done today, right? So we have to go to the right-hand side and create the algorithm that returns welcome to JavaScript. So you tell me, how do we solve it? Return, yeah? Return what? Return backticks, and then what? Welcome to JavaScript. Like that?
Yeah.
Will this work? No, why not? We need what?
We need calling the function. You need to call the function.
Someone mentioned exclamation. No, the function will be called automatically. We don't have to call it. So the function will be invoked automatically for us. So someone mentioned that we are missing an exclamation mark. Yeah. Correct. What happened if we submit? Oh, that thing, right? That's where you lose all the points, right? Because you forgot to put it, right? So if we test it, if we fail, look at the left-hand side. It becomes red, like wrong, wrong, and you can spot the differences, right? We were expecting to return that. However, hi, what is the exclamation mark? So coding is about paying attention to details. So if we add the exclamation mark, boom, becomes green. So now the exercise is correct. Cool? Is there any difference of using backticks or single quotes or even double quotes?
No.
I mean, in this particular example, we don't have any variable, right? So that should be fine, right? Should be fine.
actually doesn't work
It doesn't work.
on this. Yeah, backtick. I'm doing backtick. It's not working.
It should work with backticks,
Look what you returned.
right?
It's red.
Wait, you returned.
Yeah, if you type that, it should work clearly. Please remember to add the return statement, right? So again, we can use backticks, we can use single quotes.
Oh no. Basically.
Can we use double quotes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can, right? Freedom, whatever you want. This is whatever you prefer, right? And as we said, the semicolon at the end is optional. Okay, so that works fine. Then let's do the second question out of 5. Get welcome message. It's similar. You see, this we did that at the beginning of the session, right? So we want to say hello to a specific user. So the function will be executed 3 times, each time passing a different person name, and we expect to receive the different welcome messages. So what we need to do?
Return
Return
username
username
plus
plus
string
string
space
space
space in between the string
space
hello.
hello.
Oh
Oh,
no, wrong.
no, wrong.
Around. My bad. Yeah, sorry, I got it. It's supposed to be
right. Let's start again, right?
Yeah,
Itamar. Okay.
yeah.
Do tell me.
Hello
Hello.
space
Yeah.
plus username, but the hello has to be a capital H.
Correct. 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 Like that.
Yeah.
Will it work? Yes or no? Why? Yeah. Yes. You're not convinced, huh? Yes. Yes.
Should username be
No. Well, because we. Okay. For now, that's okay because we have it. We're not using the backtick notation. We're using single quotes. So that's what we mentioned. This is the old way
We
to.
have to define username or object.
We have to define username, but we got the username here. Look.
Okay.
So we are already importing the username and we're displaying it. So now on the left-hand side, if the questions are correct, will become green. If they are wrong, they will become red. They are correct. We don't need a dollar sign. Remember, we need a dollar sign if we use backticks. If we use backticks. Are we using backticks here?
No.
No, we don't need them. Let's use backticks. Let's start again with backticks. You tell me what to do. Backtick,
Hello. Space,
hello, space,
dollar sign.
dollar sign,
Curly
curly
bracket,
bracket,
and the username.
username. And then what? Close it,
Close it.
Wait.
And then backtick.
and then backtick. Will this work, yes or no?
No.
No, why?
Semicolon.
Capital N. Yeah.
Capital N, correct, correct. If you notice, one of the things that we try to do here at Codiri is to help with the feedback. So now, username, line number 2, is red. It's like something smelly, right? Why is red? Because we don't have any variable called username. If we don't care and we are super convinced this will work and we try to submit it, we got an error. Username is not defined. And then you say, hey, wait a minute, it is defined. But then if you pay attention, you notice the capital N. Right? JavaScript is case sensitive. That's why we need to pay attention to the details, right? Okay, let's fix it. Username is not red anymore. So will this work now? Yes, of course. Come on, we can do it. Question number 3. Hello, Kobe Bryant. This is a different exercise. So we are working for a nice startup with some good colleagues. We're progressing, we are getting bonuses, we're making money. But then we got a new graduate and he's trying to solve this question. He doesn't know or she doesn't know why this doesn't work. It looks correct, but when we submit it, it doesn't return anything. Why? Why? What's going on here? You tell me.
Function.
Correct, that's the first thing. Function. Twice. Wrong. Cool. And then what else?
And for the below is the back of whatever is the
Backtick. Yeah, thank you, Rafa. So we need to put backticks here.
after the exclamation mark.
Correct.
Have to open before the function.
We have to open before the function.
That symbol.
We need to submit the variables.
We need to submit it. How do we do that? Still red, right? If the variables are red, it's because
Oh, we have to include first name under hello.
Exactly, exactly. We have to import them. We have to declare them here. You remember?
Yeah.
Ah, that thing, right? Exactly. Look at the first name. Pop. Look at the last name. Pop. Right? Will this work? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Cool. Question number 4. Again, we got a string and a number, and we want to show how old someone is, right?
Yeah.
What?
Return.
Return. I like that. So I don't even if you don't know what you want to do, the first thing is please return something, right?
Yeah.
If you forget to return, it won't work. Even if whatever you do next is perfect. Return what? Backticks, please. Dollar sign,
Username.
brackets,
Only
username, and then what else?
Space.
Is what? Dollar sign, brackets, age. You see, it's the same thing again, and again. This is how coding works. Repeating the same pattern, the same principles. Right? Again. Cool. So, will this work? Yes. Exactly. I mean, if I type something wrong, it will fail. It's not like a fake. It's actually checking your code, right? Cool. But yeah, okay, so it's working. And then last question. Interesting. Same thing again. Our graduate colleague has failed again, right? So he's approached us, say, hey, I need your help again. So why is this exercise not working?
because there's one single code and one double code. It should be.
Yeah.
Should be both, exactly. Which one do you want to change? This one or that one?
Double code because that's easy. Single code is easy.
Correct, like that, right? Exactly, right? This is the type of exercise we are doing here again and again. Obviously, this is beginners. Then we got intermediate, then we got expert. We got super complex questions here. But hey, wait a minute. If we submit it, and that's the important thing, eventually you get a score. So the score is telling you how good you perform across several categories. Tenacity, how many questions you completed. Accuracy, how many times you press the submit button and you fail. Some people get 0 here because they are like, you know, when you play Street Fighter in the 90s, when you play just randomly pressing buttons, right? No, don't do that. Let's think about the solution before submit. Speed, how long it took you to complete the exercise. Focus, how many times you went to Google to search for the answer. Elegance, this is what we mentioned before. We're evaluating the quality of your code, how readable the code is, how long the code is, all these things, right? So once, apart from the training, and I'm wrapping up now, we play coding challenges. So what a coding challenge is, and I know that some of you are here already. So coding challenge is literally what we've done here, but everyone doing the same test at the same time. And after 60 minutes, we compare the results. For example, this is the meetup that we ran a couple of weeks ago. Correct. So this was on intermediate. So questions were more complicated, but you can see that you got the same pentagon, and you can compare the different scores, right? One on top of the other. So this is a good way to compare how good everyone is behaving, right? So you can see here that someone called Konstantin, who is a former student of our academy, he won the challenge, scoring 93 on the intermediate, which is really good score. Then you can see the second, you can see the third one, right? So for example, Norbert, so this is the Street Fighter mode, right? You see he got a huge penalty here because he pressed the green button too many times, right? And another thing we do, obviously, we show the result, who finished fourth, who finished fifth, who finished, we show the scores. We also, if you like motorsports, we used to play some rocky music. So we saw the starting grid before each challenge. I know this is going a bit off topic, but it's the end of the session. So we can show here where everyone is placed in the ranks, so all these things, right? And so finally, one thing we do after every challenge, usually the day after, because otherwise this would be a bit overwhelming, we analyze what everyone has written. And then this is a good way to see if it's green, that means he or she got the right solution. If it's red, it means that it didn't work. So we compare the solutions and we analyze why, for example, this didn't work, right? So this is the type of things that we do here. And finally, so the more you play, you'll get a history, right? You get several scores. So what we do is we show where you are in the ranks. So for example, here, this is beginners. So you can see that we got few players in beginners already, right? We also got intermediate, right? The same few players working here. And then we got expert. So we opened expert last Friday. So this is really new, right? So yeah, this is the way we train. And again, this is a free tool. So if you are interested to join us, to do the training, just literally go to codely.com, play, right? And finally, if anyone is interested to learn more about our bootcamp, about how do we help new coders to work professionally, to break into the market, you got the Book Your Place link. We got some people here who already joined our winter bootcamp. We got 4 places still available. So you click here, book your place, you enter your details, and we'll contact you shortly. So that's pretty much it from my part, guys. Do you have any question, anything you want to talk about? No?
So you just can go and sign up.
Yeah, definitely. Just to do the training, just literally go play, you do the sign up, and then you can start training by yourself. Yes. And then the bootcamp.
Signed in and I can't see any.
Yes, that's correct. If you click on the menu on the left, click on it, then you go training. Yeah, and then you can start the training, right? So that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope it was a productive session. We have several events planned for the next weeks, including an introduction to React in 2 weeks. And nothing is now, if you want to stay, I'll stay here for a while. I'll bring drinks, I'll bring some beers, I'll bring some soft drinks as well. So I'm here to talk about coding, cars, fashion, technology, whatever. Apart from that, thank you very much. I'm looking forward to see you soon.
Thanks for
Thank you.